What's up, guys? Luke here from Luke's Points and Miles, and not so long ago I chiseled away my credit card wallet to make what I wanted to be a simple, optimized wallet with a long-term strategy. That wallet included the Chase, Sapphire Reserve, and the Capital One Venture X. Each of those cards supported by complimentary no annual fee cards, and that setup would do everything I could possibly need. And then the refresh chain reaction hit us. Annual fees went up, benefits were changed, and coupons were added, and that was just the Sapphire Reserve. After a lot of thought, I decided the Sapphire Reserve was no longer the card for me, and I waited for the Citi release and then this most recent Amex Platinum refresh to reformulate a plan to move towards 2026. So what I'm saying is the fact that I've completely changed strategies should not come as a surprise to any of you that follow my channel. However, this time I actually used data and numbers to come up with my optimized simple setup, and not just my heart or my hopeless propensity to fall for really good marketing. I want to give a shout out to Rich from the YouTube channel Rich with Points, because in this video I used his website as a tool and a guide to come up with this setup and Q4 2025. I'll leave a link to his site and his channel below, because not only is he a cool dude, but his site is invaluable for us nerds. See, I basically entered my yearly spend into the provided categories. Then I started playing with the card wallets, and this helped me quickly find the setup that not only felt good, but also made sense mathematically. I will admit, I'm not completely sold on the numbers only part of this. I still need to feel good about this setup. So without further ado, I'm going to present to you my credit card strategy in the fourth quarter 2025. These are the cards in my wallet. Real quick, I want to preface this with the following. I'm trying to get closer to simple. I'm never going to get there. I'm moving away from any kind of loyalty when it comes to hotels and airlines, so there's not going to be any co-branded cards in this setup. I will be using different techniques such as portal bookings, cash bookings, and transferring out to partners, and in an attempt to consolidate, I'll be down to just 3 issuers. And I think it's important to mention why some of these issuers are absent. Citi is gone for me. Citi dropped the ball with their new premium card, and Citi will not approve me for any new cards, at least right now. So having the Strata Premier and the custom cash, it's just not enough. This sucks because I love American Airlines miles and the AA program, but Citi, with their tough applications and pretty much abysmal customer service, they will eventually be gone, at least effectively. Wells Fargo won't be used, even though I think they have great cards. They just aren't there yet when compared to the big dogs. And Bank of America, well, I don't want to talk about them in this video because I don't plan on doing business with them probably ever. So first thing I'm going to do is reveal the 7 card setup that I'm going to be using moving forward. Afterwards, I'll show you some comparables that I considered, and then I'll tell you why I ultimately chose this setup. Well, besides just the numbers, let's start with the Big Daddy, American Express. You guys know I've been very critical of Amex lately, but this new refresh, along with a simplified setup, really does work for me. See, Amex, it does require a ton of work, but if it's the only ecosystem that requires the work, then it's a little bit more palatable for me. Plus, they just have way too many ways to earn points, and they still have the best customer service in the game. Also, if you didn't know, I am a traveler, so their business model, well, it works for me. So I'm starting off with the Amex Platinum card, and before anyone starts typing, yes, I just bought a Lululemon hoodie, and I'm hooked. Love the credit. So I'm going to value that credit at 100% or $300 easily. The card will require that aforementioned work, but I think I like it so much, it might be worth it. I can eat at Resi restaurants without much trouble, and everything else I can pretty much do from home. I like to stay at higher end properties, and I'm okay paying cash for them at least a couple times a year. So this card, it makes a lot of sense. Will it make sense once the annual fee hits in May? I don't know yet. Maybe, maybe not. I'm going to pair that card with its little brother, for now, the gold card. Now, don't get me wrong, I do not like the credits on the gold card, but it turns out I eat food, and well, it's just not that difficult to grab a smoothie or something during the month. I also Uber when I travel domestically, so this isn't all that difficult. If I miss a credit or two, I'm not going to beat myself up over it, because my wife is on a health food kick, so I expect to spend at least $15,000 at the grocery store in the next 12 months. So we start off the wallet with two of the internet's most favorite, most controversial cards. Amex, I just can't quit you. If you follow the channel, you probably guess what comes next. Another duo, and probably my favorite duo of all time, the Capital One Venture X and the Saver card. This is actually the setup that I base everything off of. I think if I had to, I could be completely satisfied points-wise with just these two cards. In this wallet though, this is the overseas travel duo, and the Venture X is the catch-all and the portal hotel programs. And the Saver, well, it's just for streaming and entertainment, and it can service as the grocery and dining card when I need to generate points from a transfer partner that might not be available with Amex. So far, I have all the lounge access I could ever need and all the purchase protections and travel insurances I could ever dream of. And I also have access to two very strong ecosystems that offer great shopping portals and extra ways to earn points, as well as a ton of transfer partners. So what can I add to this? Well, Chase, obviously. The great thing about Chase is you can add Chase without a lot of cost, and there are some great ways to earn Chase UR points. And well, I'll admit it, Hyatt. So I'm going to add the following to this wallet. I like the ink preferred for my travel card, and that will give me access to the partners. It's that $95 Chase tax that doesn't really have a way to offset the cost, but I'm glad to pay it. Complimentary cards will be the Chase Freedom card. I'm not a super fan of quarterly cards, but I can't pass up 5x UR points, and I'll use the Chase Business Ink Cash as well. This is one of those if you know cards. It can earn 5x on internet, cable, cell phones, and plenty more. So I think this is a very cheap way to inject a steady stream of UR points, as well as access to even more transfer partners and another portal. Like I said, I eventually won't have any other annual fee cards besides the Platinum, Gold, Venture X, and the Ink Preferred. I'll keep all my 5% no annual fee cashback cards, but I won't mention them in this video, just be too long. They can come in sporadically or with something that's on auto pay, things like that, to make things completely easy. How much will this wallet cost me per year? Well, that's interesting, and I think it's better to compare that to some alternatives. So my first base setup was the Capital One Duo. That's only $395. Adding up all my expected spending and factoring in the value of those points and credits, the Duo should earn me almost $4,000 worth of value. That doesn't take into account the lounge access, the protections and insurance, which for me is substantial, if not less interesting for the YouTubers. Like I said, I could really have some fun with just these two cards, but I've already decided that the Amex juice is going to be worth the squeeze, at least for the next few months, or the work is worth the headache. So what about an Amex trifecta anchored by the favorite catch-all? This setup provides all the same lounge access. It takes the game to another level, but it's expensive at $1,765 a year. That's a lot more than just $395. But this setup with my spending gets me almost $6,200 in value, plus tons of lounge access, a lot of perks and programs. This is a great two-issuer setup, if you're asking me. However, when I plug in the Chase ecosystem, I think we get a little synergistic here. The Amex Platinum and Gold, Capital One Duo, plus the fairly affordable Chase setup actually costs less to hold than the Amex trifecta / Venture X combo. But this setup provides so much more, and the costs come down to just $1,710 in annual fees, but they generate $6,700 in value per year, and that is not counting any of the Chase 5X shenanigans that are possible. It does make things a bit more complicated, but it gets me access to so much more. It also keeps the options open for changing things up. If I change my mind about the Sapphire Reserve, it's an easy upgrade, and let's face it, 7 cards is a lot less than most of us have right now, and I like the fact that it earns on every purchase and takes out the complicated stuff like free night certs and brand specific points and miles. Now, don't worry, there's still room in the budget for some one and dones, but I'm not getting approved for cards automatically anymore, so I think this setup could make gardening a little easier. So go to Rich's website, make a free account, and take some of the guesswork out of your setup. And if you want to support my channel, check out my links in the description. And guys, that's what I'm going to be using in the fourth quarter of 2025. If you stayed all the way to the end, I thank you and I appreciate every single one of you.